Alright, so this is the first part of our World War II unit. So for those of you who are home, this will be your time to take out your note guide that I gave you guys on Friday, and then you can fill it out as we go along. So the first part we're going to go over is world leaders. So we're going to take a look at different world leaders in Europe and how they contributed to the political tensions that started World War II. So the first person we're going to look at is Benito Mussolini. So he was the leader of Italy, so that'll be the first box that you fill in. So the Great Depression, as you remember, from last unit, it wasn't just the US, it was throughout the world. So obviously because the US trades with the world, so what happened in the US didn't stay there. Italy had a lot of inflation, which means their money has less value, so a dollar maybe is only worth 75 cents. Inflation's led to communists leading strike. So inflation, people were unhappy that their money wasn't worth as much, so people led strikes against the government. Because of this, Benito Mussolini was able to take over as a leader. So usually when, pretty terrible things happen, you see a rise of another political party or a rise of another leader because of, having that chaos. You want to see a difference. He was a fascist, which is the exact opposite of a communist. Fascism, and that's spelled wrong, is what, like a government that's what's best for the nation over individuals. So that's why the United States is very, as a whole, kind of against it, or the ideologies of America. So America is built on, the American dream and you being able to own your own business and, benefit yourself rather than the common good. This is more of like a nation common good rather than the individual. So you would be expected to make sacrifices for the betterment of the community. What Mussolini ended up doing was turning Italy into a totalitarian country. So he was kind of like the dictator, the supreme ruler. So people could not oppose him. There was only one political party, kind of like North Korea today. He also used the secret police that he had to get rid of the opposition. So any people who were brave enough to oppose him no longer were around. The next person we're going to look at is Joseph Stalin. He is the leader of the Soviet Union. So Russia was controlled by communists who are led by Stalin. So opposite of Italy and opposite of Germany, who is also fascist, we'll get to. So communists are like opposite spectrum of the political ideologies. They were led by Joseph Stalin. He's a very interesting character. He was a very paranoid person, and he was very paranoid about opposition against the Communist Party. So he created or started the Great Purge, where he took people out of the army, out of the government, and out of his political party, the Communist Party, if he thought they were going to oppose him or were accused of any political crimes, which you could do basically whenever. The victims of his purge were executed or they were sent to gulags, which are labor camps, which are not good, so it was very hard labor. They often died from disease or starvation. He also used gas fans, like Hitler, which we'll talk about later. What was, how the gas fans were used. Next, with the communist country in Russia, how the communists worked and how Stalin worked was Russia really controlled as every aspect of the country. There was really no freedom of speech or any, what we would call the First Amendment freedoms. So they would produce their own media and communist propaganda. So like any advertisements you would see or any, like newspapers or movies or, anything that was all done by the government, by the communist government. School children learned about communism in school, and you weren't allowed to question the Communist Party, so they were really indoctrinated of the belief system of the Communist Party. Kind of think of it as like everybody having to go to a religious school and everybody having to be that religion, whether or not they were to begin with. Um, so bad example, but communists were against religion because religion would put their God above anything else, whereas communists wanted the communists above anything else. So that's why they were against religion. Next, we're going to go to Adolf Hitler. So we're going to look at him more in depth, but for this, we're just going to do a quick overview. So he took advantage, again, like Mussolini, of instability with Germany because of the Great Depression. So he was able to gain power that way. He was appointed Chancellor of Germany, which is kind of like the head of Congress now, like in the United States. So the president of Germany died. Hitler took over fully without anybody powerful enough to take him on in Germany, which we'll talk about more later. What he began doing, like Russia, was censoring German life and going after people that were against him or posed a threat to him. So now you are going to go do your exit slip, which is in modules, and this is going to look messy in what it won't look like this now, but it's just the world leader exit slip. And so evaluate how Stalin, Mussolini, and Hitler contributed to the rising political tensions through Europe. Just a few sentences, but think about their goals and their ideas and why them being three world powers in Europe that they wouldn't mesh together. Think about that. And have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.